Hello and welcome to the Helios Blog. My name is Helios. Today, we're going to talk about how masculinity is not misogyny. Many online websites nowadays talk about masculinity as being toxic. They of course are referring to any masculine behaviours that do not align with what women desire in the long term. Nothing short of male slavery will do. I'm here to put out a clear message. Men empowering themselves and freeing themselves from mental prisons are not misogynists. They do not hate women, they simply want to be free. Wanting to be free is not misogynist, it is simply masculine. Masculinity is not misogyny. Let's talk a bit more about our culture, shall we? Enjoying my content? Check out my blog at heliosblog.com. On YouTube, you can support me by liking and subscribing. I'm also on Spotify if you'd prefer a podcast. If you're interested in my books, The Strategist Guide to Seduction and Quotes to Live By, they're available on Amazon. In addition, you can follow me on Patreon at the Helios Blog for exclusive content. On with the show. The matriarchy. The West is currently a matriarchy. Women are favoured in all things, including business. It's much easier to get a job as a woman in any traditional male field nowadays for a woman. It's also true that many more women are going to university than men. Women have longer lifespans than men. Women have lower suicide rates than men. Women have better support systems than men. Women have more sex than men. Women are supported more by the government than men. Women have more relationships than men. More women are able to succeed in their biological imperative than men. 80% or more are able to have children, whereas the vast majority of men cannot be polygamous. It is an absolute farce to say that a minuscule minority of men, the top 0.5%, are doing better than women, and therefore the West is an oppressive patriarchy. It is simply untrue and pure obfuscation. The feminine imperative. Women are the progenitors of the human race. It stands to reason that women would have as a goal the ability to control relationships. In the West, all default relationship strategies, those you are taught by your parents, by your school, and those promoted by the government, are those that favour women. It makes sense. As a race, we need to reproduce, and women should be in charge of their own bodies. What is also true is that in order to better facilitate the feminine imperative, hypergamy, and the control of reproduction, the imperative of the masculine had to be sacrificed, polygamy. The average man had to become a beast of burden in order to facilitate the reproductive future of the human race. This is what I mean when I refer to a beta or NPC. A beta or NPC is a man who is not a man, but is something more akin to a fatted calf. He's being raised to the slaughter, divorce and abandonment, to better facilitate the feminine imperative, hypergamy and the control of reproduction. All the things that we consider to be the default relationship behaviours are women favoured by design. I believe that men should be aware of the mental prison they're in, so that they can stop being beasts of burden. No man should be forced from birth to assume the role of a plough horse. If he wants to be one, he should have that choice. He should know what he's getting into before he's used and slaughtered. It is only fair. The matriarchy has taken the right to choose away from men. Hypergamy. Hypergamy refers to the idea that women want the best mate to reproduce with. They want a superior man. Rather than just fuck any guy, women fuck the winners. Do you think that betas or NPCs are the winners? They are the convenient paycheck, taxi or safety net at the end of the carousel ride that women go on. The carousel ride is one where they meet a whole host of suitors and decide which one is the best, only to never choose any in the long term and keep looking for a perfect man, one who doesn't exist. The perfect one is the man who is both a perfect beta and perfect alpha in the same body. What often happens is that women go from alpha to beta to alpha and back again, always looking for the same qualities in one man. They are continually disappointed and finally settle for a plough horse in the end, reveling in eternal disappointment that they could never find the perfect man. They then grow bored and disillusioned with their perfect marriage and go searching again, only to find that once again the perfect man they wish does not exist. The matriarchy has allowed this freedom to women, the freedom to use and discard beta men at will. The average man have no idea women even do this. The average man is destroyed by this. The mental prison of the matriarchy's making is the cause. Cultural brainwashing. As I referred to earlier in this article, all men in the West experience cultural brainwashing. Men are told that women desire and mate with men who are one way, beta, and visibly see women mate with men that are the opposite way, alpha. Most men do not break free of their mental prison at this point. Instead, they rationalize why that girl specifically was with that man. They say something like, she was a slut, or she was a bitch. They have no idea that women are not perfect virgins or sluts. Women are humans following their biological and cultural programming, as men are. Women are simply doing as women do, fucking alphas and using betas, taking advantage of the culture that they live in, the matriarchy, which facilitates this process. Men should, rather than lamenting their failures with women, learn what women are truly attracted to and demonstrate those behaviours. They should break out of their mental prison, escape, become alpha, and succeed in this world. Men did not have a choice regarding what world they were born in, but they do have a choice to learn and escape to greener pastures. Men teaching men. This is why the men of today are extremely lucky. We have the internet where we can share and compile ideas. Without this method of communication, we would have never discovered the mental prison that we were raised in. We would have remained sheep or plough horses forever. You, dear reader or listener, are extremely lucky to be reading this or listening to this. You know the dangers that are in front of you. You're able to make a rational decision to break free. Don't let the matriarchy and cultural programming rule your life. Instead, rise above the pack and make something of yourself. You are worth more than a sheep, or a cow, or a Clydesdale. Powerful men breaking free. The funny thing is that cultural programming is a method of natural selection. Women sexually select the men who are able to break free of the mental prison, about 20%. Those men that listen to women's words, and not their actions, are weak and not reproductive material, or at least not regular, passionate, hot reproductive material. Only men who fight and struggle against the metaphorical bars are alpha men. We are just monkeys after all. Our selective pressure is cultural, but it is there, as it is for every other animal in the animal kingdom. We cannot escape being sexually selected, even though we're smarter than the average animal. In fact, most men are sexually selected for without ever having had any idea there was even a sexual selection going on in the first place. Strong men as threats to the matriarchy. The matriarchy and sites that promote it the most fear men that attempt to break their mental prison. They call us things like misogynists, women haters, alt-righters, basically neo-Nazis, crazy, small-dicked, etc. None of those things are true. We are not anti-female. We are pro-male. It's entirely unfair for any man's life to be determined for him before he even had a chance to know the truth. Men should have the right to choose what kind of life they want to live. They should not have that choice made for them. That is slavery. Men being trapped in a mental prison just so that women can fulfill their biological imperative is among the greatest cultural travesties of our time. Most men were never given the right to choose their own sexual path. It was determined from birth through cultural programming. Know the truth and be free. Men thinking for themselves. Think for yourself and let others enjoy the privilege of doing so too. Voltaire. Think for yourself. Once you know the truth, the lies behind the veil of your reality, you cannot go back to ignorance. You know you have a choice of what kind of life you want to live for yourself. Do you want to be a praised drone or a hated free man? At least you know you have a choice. Before reading this, or listening to this, I'm sure you didn't think so. It hurts, I'm sure, to know that you've been lied to as long as you have been. Pain is much better than ignorance and shackles. Conclusion. There are several ways that the average man has been put into a mental prison, but mostly it has to do with the matriarchy. It has to do with the cultural brainwashing that has been used against males for a long time in order to naturally select them. Use the knowledge you've been given wisely. Break free and make some damn decisions for yourself. You are more than a slave.